Good morning, everyone. This is Isela Bonada here. Really excited with the Women of Power. Our other hosts as well, co-hosts are Marissa Fletcher, Cynthia Alvidres, Chrislyn Yim, and myself, Isela Bonada. Really excited to be here officially on the Power calendar, Women of Power. This was a vision that I shared with these amazing mentors and women in power. And here we are officially on the Power calendar. I'm really excited and really proud of our team. And so thank you so much for joining us today. Today is January 19th, 2023. Can you believe it? It's already January 19, 2023. So really excited to be here today. Wanted to, move on to the next thing. What we love to do is we love to share wins of the week. We want to share whether you have a new electric bill, a recent install, a new ambassador, you help family go solar, you received a referral, you signed up a new seller, maybe you've moved up. Now you're tier 2 or tier 3. Also, if you're new to the Power platform, congratulations for taking that leap of faith. We're here to celebrate your wins and be there to help you along the way. Does anybody, want to share, calling in, let us know where you're calling in from and share anything you'd like to share with us.
Well, I'd like to start. Who's?
Yeah, that's Angela. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Angela. Your letter comes
Angela,
before
you
me.
go first, and then we'll have Barry go after.
Can you see me? Yeah.
Yes, we can see you.
Oh, okay, great. Hi. So I have a win this week. I signed up a roofer, a consultant, and 2 ambassadors.
Amazing.
That's awesome. Excited. Do you want to share anything?
Just, my beginning of the year has been kind of slow for me. And I have to say, I want to thank Robin, who's just a great motivator for me. Whenever I'm feeling like I'm kind of slipping off, she just kind of pushes that button. It's like, come on, you can do this, with all the encouragement. Marissa has been just a super encouragement for me to keep going, because I had a big gap in my my deals closing. So I got kind of frustrated, not going to give up, but kind of feeling like maybe I should. And so just between both of those ladies have just been so powerful in keeping me motivated and going. And that's just, I started making my calls again, and immediately things started happening. So I'm excited. Also, reading Atomic Habits has been a great one that we, are reading now, and just really being a great motivator for me as well. So I'm just going to hang in there and keep it going.
Awesome. You're off to a fantastic start. Ladies, anybody else want to share, or gentlemen would like to share a win?
Yeah, this is Barry Besser,
Go ahead.
Anaheim Hills, California. Good morning, everybody. Great to see you all. And so 2 things happened yesterday. One was as a result of posting on Facebook over and over and over again, a lady that I've been friends with on Facebook for the last 10 years, never met her, but I feel like I know her. Well, she finally contacted me by private message indicating her mother was looking into going solar. And so mine was the first name that she thought of. So she's going to be sending me her information today. And then on Nextdoor app, I saw somebody inquiring about solar in my neighborhood, and just wanted to talk to homeowners that had success with their solar companies. So I didn't want to spam them, but I indicated that's what I do. I am a neighbor, and if he wants to reach out to me, feel free. And so I tried that approach. It worked, because 10 minutes later, he contacted me, said he'd like to meet with me for a consult, immediately sent his year's worth of bills to me. I didn't even have to ask for it. He's had 2 other consults with another company. So I'm looking forward to snagging that one.
That's awesome. Nice job, Barry. And I think, Tracy, you're unmuted. Did you want to share? No, maybe not. I will share, because Angela touched on this, that it was kind of slow for her the last couple months. It was for me too. We all have those period of times coming out of the summer that can be a little scary, right? Because in the summer, you just have so many leads. I got 1 referral that turned into 3 more. in just 1 week, and you just never know. And that's why they call it the solar coaster. Sometimes you're coming down the solar coaster and other times you're gaining momentum to go back up. So nice share, Angela. I appreciate that. Anyone else want to share? Giselle has her hand raised.
I do. Well, I want to take advantage of the fact that Jordan is here to give him a big shout out because he's been such an amazing mentor and I've learned from him so much. I had a really slow start with a lot of leads that did not pull through. And today I'm hoping to be signing the 3rd contract. So I'm super excited, big win.
Awesome. Congratulations, Giselle. That's awesome. Sorry, Stella, go for it.
Oh, no, it's okay. The goddess. Congratulations, Giselle. Excited for you. We have the goddess who has her hand raised.
Yeah,
Go for
this is Tracy, not the first Tracy, a different Tracy. I'm from Fullerton, California, and the last about a week ago or so, I closed my biggest deal ever, which was $100,000.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was a huge
Congratulations.
system. It's a huge system with the ground mount, so the numbers really racked up. So that was pretty exciting. Now I have a, a new goal to surpass.
Awesome.
Also-
Did you do this ground mount presentation on your own, or did you have
Yeah.
some? Wow, fantastic. Now I know who to turn to. I haven't done one yet. That's amazing.
And then I signed up a new ambassador this week. And one of the things, I'll share this, and Barry, thanks for sharing, how you've been successful. Is I spoke to a mortgage broker yesterday, and he was like, and I met him through a networking group, and he was like, I can get names, homeowners, addresses, anywhere in the 25 states that he does business in, how long somebody's owned a house. I mean, just he has access to free information for homeowners. And we're going to work together to send out, text blasts and email blasts and things like that, because he has free access to that stuff. So I'm signing him up as an ambassador, and I'm working on signing him up as a consultant so he can make more money. And, reaching out to a mortgage broker, if you know them, they have access to all this information, and that's what we want to go after. And mortgage brokers are not making a lot of money right now because interest rates are so high. So they're looking for other ways to make money. So if you know any mortgage brokers, reach out to them.
So true.
That's
Such good
really great.
advice. Yep. The lending and real estate industry are hurting a little bit right now. They're coming off a high and coming down a little bit. So they're great people to reach out to.
And just so I worked with actually a loan officer / real estate agent. We helped him close his 3 deals. So that's just a perfect example, how they need us. So Lily, do you want to share with us?
Yes, I remember you last time, JB's training. You said like fortune is in the follow-up. Yes, I was working with a homeowner like over a year, more than a year. I signed up his brother, but still working on their deal. She keeps on like delaying and delaying. And then finally she reached out to me, say, hey, we want to sign up our house in our secondary house. So we're just working on that. It's just unfortunate that Sunlight with Solo, we're encountering problem with phone verification error. So we're sending like documents manually. That's it. Thank you.
Congratulations, Lily. I've had the pleasure to work with Lily and some of her, teammates, and she's such an awesome, you see her, she's kind of quiet and sweet, but, she is definitely what we call fire. And,
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to share with you, when we had the last one that Cynthia mentioned, oh, I closed 3 deals yesterday. I was like, wow. And she's someone that I definitely look up to in our team. So I just want to share with you, like Lily said, fortune is in the follow-up. 2 years ago, Jonathan helped me for one of my first mentee presentations with one of my best friends. And he was like, nope, not ready. Fortunes in the follow-up. 2 years later, we're doing battery, re-roof, and his solar system. So, last week when we were on our leadership summit, I had 2 installations and then 3 closes, like pretty much on the same day. So I just want to, thank you. We can, inspire you in any way that I appreciate all of you. Does anybody else want to share a win? Anyone? Chrislyn?
I'll share. This is Leilani.
Hi, Leilani.
Hi. I've never spoken on one of these calls, but I was signed up by Robin Mansell, and I use Marisa quite a bit as my mentor on these deals, but I've kind of started out slow here. I've only signed up my family. So my sister and her husband, my dad, and my brother-in-law have all signed up for the solar. I'm waiting on 2 installations right now. So I'm waiting on my dad's house and my brother-in-law's house to be installed. But so far, my sister and her husband have had their solar installed. And I've just been taking it slow, going through all the training. I'm trying to get, I'm tier 2 certified. I want to be a mentor. So I'm just going through that whole process and taking it slow.
Awesome. Congratulations, Leilani. I had the pleasure of meeting her a couple of months ago, right?
Yes. Yep. It was so fun.
Yeah. So
Leilani, that's really impressive, because sometimes your family can be the hardest sale. Your warm market is not always your best market. I'll tell you from experience.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and I still can't convince my parents, as sad as that is. So great job. You must be like the favorite family member.
No, my dad was really difficult to convince. Marissa had to come out to speak with my dad in person.
I'm not taking it slow. You're doing really good. It takes time to build momentum. Once we figure out what works, what doesn't work, how to plug everything in, how to get it going, and we see how easy it is, that's when momentum picks up. So I don't think you're taking it slow. I think that that's a normal pace for the beginning. So good job.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to share? Just taking it once, twice.
Let's go ahead and wrap up the shares, and let's move into to the next, if we can, just so we can get to the training.
Awesome. So mark your calendars, everyone. It's really important for you to get, into the trainings. You get to see our community and answer any questions or get inspired. So Monday mornings, we have our trainings at 10 a.m. JC, right? Also at 5 p.m. for business opportunity. On Tuesdays, we have team training series with power hitters and solar warriors with Jonathan Brunasso. He also brand new. He has office hours now from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. So it's a great way to get any questions answered. Following that, we have also actually, at the same time, we have end-phase training. It's a good way, if you have any questions there, of course, to get those answers, and you always learn. On Wednesdays, we have Breakthrough Mastermind at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And on Thursdays, don't forget to share with all of your team members. We're all welcome, as you can see, both men and women of power, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then we have office hours following 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We have Power On 5 to 6 p.m. And Fridays, we have, this is something good to chime into, as I don't know much about home run financing. Office hours are from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then other office hours, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then building with Bobby, 9 a.m. So if you want to learn how to recruit, this is a great way to get into Bobby. Take a screenshot and go ahead and save it. And then moving on to the next. So go ahead. I'm going to now turn it on to Cynthia. Introduce our special guest, Jordan Shaw.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Isela. Let me go ahead and, okay, so Jordan Shaw, if you guys don't know who he is one of the top mentors in the platform. He has been in solar for over 8 years. He's ran his own business for 5 years. He's been at the top of personal sales. He has over 82 personal sales, over 40 mentor sales. He ranked in the top 5 in the summer contest. And just such an amazing person, you guys, such a like wealth of knowledge. If you ever get a chance to speak to him, he just has so much good mentorship to share. He hosted the last Powur Hour, so that's in the chat. He dropped that link. If you didn't watch it, I highly recommend you save that and watch it. He does also have lifetime sales on the platform of over 146. So he is a solar centurion, and also a good friend. So take it away, Jordan Shaw. He's going to share with us a little bit on NEM 3.0 and just what to expect and what his game plan is, and just some tips and tricks for us today. So take it away, Jordan.
Hey, thanks, Cynthia. I appreciate it. So yeah, we've got a lot. Cynthia and I have been through the trenches together on that, going down to Mexico. So you remember that window, right?
Jordan and we had to build a window frame, and I kid you not, that is one of the hardest things ever. And you should have seen us struggling. We almost gave up.
I think we did more like painting of boards more effectively and different nailing than that window. It was just like, that was an insane thing to try, and I don't want to do that again. But I was like, yeah, well, I'm going to stay away from the window that time, next time we go down.
It was a true test of perseverance. So yeah, good job.
Yeah, especially on a rocky ground. So that was the challenge. Was it's not like we had like workbenches per se. A lot of times we had like different ways to put things on. Put things like for the boards and painting and all that, but it was just one of those things where you're literally trying to nail this thing together, and it's sitting on the ground, and so you hit it on one side and then it would pop out on the other, and you're like, all right, I need to hold it here and not get our hands smashed at the same time. And you're a badass with that camera. That's all I gotta say.
Thanks, Jordan. That definitely took all of our brain power, but it was a pleasure building that window frame with you.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and kind of jumping into kind of the training. I don't really have anything related to just like slide decks or anything like that, because really it's just kind of be very candid, because I've been answering this question again and again and again. And really, if you're not selling the urgency of NEM 3.0 at this present time, you really do need to be, because I have done over 12 deals just this month, and it's January, and it's September. I mean, it's January. It's not September, it's January. And the reason for this is every single time I jump on with a client that I'm talking to, I said, okay, you can wait, but if you wait, this is what this means. And so what I do is I've been basically framing things from a sales perspective of saying, hey, if you do wait on this, you're going to have to spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in batteries that you may not need. So depending on the client that I'm working with, if they've got an 8 kilowatt plus system, I said, all right, we need to put at least 2 batteries on the back end of this system. It's going to run you over $30,000. And you just saying that, and they see their current price, and then they envision tacking on another 30,000 on top of that. They go, oh, I don't want to wait. Like, so it becomes a very easy sale. And even if they need to think about it for a day, they're coming back, because they're like, okay, if I don't do this now, I'm never doing this, or it's going to be very expensive when I make the decision to do so. So starting really from the top here is, if anybody who on the call doesn't know what NEM 3.0 is, anybody? You can put it in the chat. So let me just kind of basically just tell you that what you need to know about it is that it's essentially a 75% reduction of any excess energy hitting the grid. So the whole magic that makes solar work for us is the whole net metering process, exporting the energy past the meter for anything that's excess, right? Gets a 1-to-1 credit, or close to 1-to-1 when you're in time of use markets. That's why we sell 110, 120, 130%, depending on which big 3 in California you're in. And so basically what you want to do is, I'm sorry, what's up?
Yeah, thanks.
Hey guys, please make sure you are all muted. Sorry, Jordan, we'll go through and see who's not muted.
It's all good, it happens. So basically what makes that magic work is really just the utility of giving the agreement that they're willing to buy that energy back at a 1-to-1. So that way the homeowner, when the sun sets, right, they can buy it back, or in months that they need that excess surplus. So like in the core summer, they've banked all of that in the spring, right? And they're just going, banking, and they're pulling, and then they're going to burn from those credits. Under 3.0, what's going to end up happening is the reduction of that 75%, right, really means for every $100 exported to the grid, they're getting $25 worth. So that's another way to, like, when you're framing it with homeowners, say, hey, well, if we went to go settle up and we borrowed $100, right, then, or like for you borrowed it from me or I borrowed it from you, whatever it is, you can say, hey, we settled up and I give you $25 back. That doesn't feel fair, right? It's like, heck no. Yeah, no, it isn't. It's because it's not. And so what I frame it as is the companies do the CPUC, the California Public Utilities Commission, and the utilities basically want more energy storage on the grid. The funny thing about this is doing so makes them more obsolete over time. Okay. And what that translates to is everybody's going to be now in a little bubble, right? They're going to be in a microgrid. But right now, the problem is they gave us no glide path. They gave us, this is it, right? This is the end date. And so that end date is April 14th-ish. Okay. So the eve, in my mind, it's April 1st, because who's to say SCE is so backed up with applications or SDG&E or whoever you're selling with, or the system basically crashes because everybody's trying to get their actual applications in. We all know how that can work, because their billing site, the billing site's so reliable, right, from these utility companies. So imagine what their application for solar process is, right? And so in my mind is I'm driving urgency saying, yeah, we're 90 days out, but in reality, you have until really the 1st of April to really get it filed, like for you to go solar, so we can guarantee that you're actually grandfathered into this. And so something that you need to do with your homeowners is really just say, okay, it's going to take your payback from 4 to 6 years right now, all the way to 12, potentially plus, depending on how many batteries we need to put in, depending on where the orientation is of your home, right? And I tell them, I say, okay, we're building a system at 120 or 140% because you anticipate to go get an electric car. That no longer makes sense in NEM 3.0 world, okay? And because I'm sure you're charging your car in the middle of the day while you're at work, right? No. So all that surplus energy needs to go somewhere. So it makes no sense for us to overcompensate for your usage. So let's do this now and get you in ahead of that. So driving that actual urgency also drives you're solving a problem, right? And you're creating like urgency in that sale. So even if they're not ready to jump on it that evening or whenever you're talking to them, within a week, if they are not doing it right, for a fact that either they failed the IQ test or they are coming back, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm saying, all right, well, no rush from me, but there's a rush from NEM. That's what I say. I say, I don't have a timeline for this. I'm just trying to help get you in ahead of this. So let me know if we're ready to do this. And a lot of times it's just within a day or two, well, yep, all right, let's do it. They're signing contract docs. I'm getting automations. At this point, I'm sending out essentially contract docs for anybody that I feel that's really ready, that it feels like they're ready, but they're like, oh, we got to think about it or whatever. I said, all right, let me put the application in your inbox. Let me go ahead and do that. Like I'm setting them up so that way they could basically be signing up, right, for solar without me necessarily helping them through the process, because if my time is very valuable at this point, and I have people vying for slots. So doing like solar sign up calls, like if they're not signing up on the call, I'm sending contract docs and say, I'm going to put the contract docs in your inbox so you can review them. Let me know if you have any questions and if you're ready to get this started, because I want them to be able to do it themselves, feel like I'm not pressuring them either. And so that can also accelerate the way in which you get more sales, because now you're removing obstacles, right? It's like, oh, we have to schedule a time to get on a call. No, like you could do that over text if you want to. Plenty of people that just go ahead and they just sign up, or over Messenger or whatever it is, they can continue that process, right? So those are some of the things that I'm doing now, is I'm just throwing applications out there for anybody I feel that like, all right, I feel like they're going to move forward. Let me put something in their inbox. If it feels like they're like, oh gosh, I don't know if I really want to, I'm like, all right, I'm not wasting any more time on you. Like I have to feel that way, because the ones that are going to get it will get it. And the ones that don't, hey, move on. It's okay. You're going to have such a wave between now and April. Capitalize on that wave, right? And that way you can just continue riding as things cool off for a little bit. And then as people start to panic again because they hit summer months and suddenly remember AC costs money, right? That's where we're going to be. You're going to have this lull, you're going to have this wave, you're going to have a lull, right? And then it's just going to skyrocket again. Right. And then but the problem, we're just gonna have to be more clever when we do those to those batteries in the future. So yeah, but that's kind of something that I've been doing with communicating with my homeowners on the presentation and driving that urgency is the reduction. The utilities want you to wait. That type of stuff that makes them go, oh shoot, like if I don't do this, I'm going to miss out. And the fear of missing out sometimes really does drive sales, right? FOMO is real. And so one of the other things that I've been doing from a marketing standpoint, for example, just like, how am I getting these leads? Because people are like, all right, you're getting referrals. Like Cynthia said, you do that solar roller coaster, right? And there's times where you're like, okay, all right, I came off of the summer contest. I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and just kind of let the installs. I got to, manage all the installs, make sure things are happening. I got a little bit of breathing room over the winter, right? Take a break in November, take a break in December. Once the 15th hit and they did that vote, it was like, oh gosh, here comes the next longest 90 days of my life. Because I knew really what was about to happen. I said, and I can't stand on the wayside. Like, I know I have to help every single person I possibly can go solar. And so this is a huge, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Nobody wanted 3.0, nobody wanted basically the immediacy of this, right? We all voted to try to get this thing delayed, or at least have some type of step down. But you need to ride it. You need to ride it, stockpile, right? All the deals that you have in the pipeline for that, because you're going to have a little bit of a lull, and then it's just going to get a little bit more creative when we hit summer and other months. Because now after NEM 3.0 hits, it's going to be more of a bill swap a lot of times. Maybe we'll save them a few bucks. It's really going to matter. It's going to be kind of, you're going to have to tune your sales, right? Because right now it's easy to drive the urgency with like marketing on Facebook and things. And if you've ever seen that, I'll get into that in a second, but we can drive the urgency, right? But once we go after NEM 3.0, what's going to happen is you just need to get a little bit better, or like you have to get better at saying, okay, we're doing a bill swap. However, I am now going ahead and helping you hedge your bets against rising energy rates over the future. Because right now, the utilities with 3.0, they could double your rates next year. And right? They could just do that, right? They could just, so you go ahead and we're going to have basically different types of ways in which we sell with that, because now you're going to be selling more of a bill swap. But that's okay, because you're going to sell bill swap with security. So the conversation is like, right now it's like, batteries are expensive, batteries, you don't need one. Do you have a lot of outages? That's the conversation right now, right? Unless somebody's like, just really wants a battery. You're like, all right, I'll help you, no problem. But I have found myself talking people out of batteries more than I talk them into batteries. Once we get to 3.0, because it'll be a necessary thing, we're going to say, okay, we're going to size your system around 90 to 100% or something like that. And I'm going to put a couple batteries in here. And what this is going to do for you is going to provide future security for your family. Because if the grid just suddenly shuts down, you're going to be safe. You're going to have, be able to run 24/7 essentially with under your own power. Won't that be great? And that'll be a new conversation, because we're all so used to going, oh, I can slash your energy bill. And in other markets, I got my start in Maryland, for example. My energy rate was 9 to 10 cents per kilowatt hour. That when I was helping people go solar, we were talking about maybe a $10 to $20 drop, if that. It was more of a green conversation with a 25-year long-term ROI. And that's when PPAs and leases were a little bit had the upper hand, because it was so long ago, because costs were so high for solar. Now that we've seen this dip in solar costs, obviously we're selling ownership for most people outside of very few. And when we go ahead and we add batteries onto the mix, it's like we're resetting the clock 7 to 8 years ago. We're going backwards in terms, because now your costs just skyrocketed, because now it's basically going to be an energy swap, or energy bill swap, excuse me. And so, but now you get the bill swap, right, with the benefit of security. And so pulling on the heartstrings from a security perspective for family, that is going to be one of those key attributes that you got to basically adapt to. So right now it's all about rush, get in ahead of this thing. You're going to thank me later. You can wait, but you're going to spend an extra $30,000 and I'll make more money. I don't say that part, but you know what I mean? You're going to do an extra 30 grand, easy. But what's going to end up happening is, you're not going to want to do that, right? But after that, you just need, the sales is going to have to adapt. So right now, the key thing that you need to be messaging on Facebook, Instagram, all your social media, tagging all of your past clients that ghosted, ran away, whatever. They like, yeah, did I shower? Like, what happened? Like, it's like, you need to be dripping on them and say, hey, did you hear California shutting down your ability to go solar after April? You might want to do it. Like, just you put that as a sense of fear and urgency in them, because they're like, wait, what do you mean? I'm like, basically, you're going to be able to do it, but you're going to have to take yourself almost off grid. And it's going to be very costly when you do that. And so it's like, either you can get a payback of 4 to 6 years right now, or we can go ahead and we can go well over 10. And so what 3.0 is really going to do for us, and there is a benefit here. One, it's going to make the utilities obsolete over time, which is awesome. But at the same time, it's going to also separate the strong sellers from the weak ones. We have plenty of, what I mean by shady people that, we've all seen those proposals, right? And you're like, they're promising you what, and they're going to do what, and you've seen those. We're going to see a kind of a culling of basically solar companies in California kind of either disappear, right? Because this is what happened in Hawaii years ago when they enacted similar things. When Nevada did this, it like decimated everybody, cleared out of Nevada basically. Okay. And then when they reversed it, people came back, and Nevada actually has a thriving solar market, And so again, it's more of a bill swap and selling long-term even then, but I know there's been some rate hikes recently. I'm not an expert on Nevada, but I'll leave that to other people that are. However, what we're going to see is we're going to see a lot of companies vanish, which means your competition is also going to dwindle, which is good, because if you ever felt like you're running around, you're like, why do I have to price this thing so low? Because the guy down the street with a van can price it at here. And like, you have to sell the value of power and the long-term play of knowing that they're going to be around. One of the things that I'm doing with my clients is, and my prospects, is I'm selling security of knowing that power is going to be there next year. And so when they say to me, well, we're looking at another company, I say, okay, well, what are their financials like? Are they going to be around? I coined myself the solar expansion king. You want to know the number of times I've done an expansion with the existing system, the company's out of business? And those are I start dropping little seeds of doubt for the other companies out there saying, we're going to see this. This has already happened. And if you go with this company, you have to make sure that, if they're giving you a 10-year work mission warranty, you have to count that as that doesn't exist. That's the way you have to treat this, right? You're like, oh, no, I get a 25-year warranty. No. You're getting a 25-year warranty on your panels and on your inverters, maybe, right? And so what I end up doing is basically educating them on that aspect of it, because you sell the financial security of Powur's got over $300 million they did last year. We have over 11,000 installations, right? We're number 43 on the Inc. 5000 list. We have cash flow coming in from other states outside of California. Key. When you start saying stuff like that, they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So even if you're a couple $1,000s more, guess what? All they thought about was their warranty for 30 years. All they thought about is the fact that their company is going to be there when they call, and they're not worried about Joe with a van down the street or the local company that, can sell it, that's selling at bare minimum just because they just need to make the construction cost. And so those are the things that after that 3.0 is going to help us with, is just because we will have less competition, because we will see more companies fold, and more companies that fly by night that just want to make a quick buck, right, are going to go out of business. And you get to be there for your homeowner long-term, saying, I'm going to be here next year, right? Is that valuable to you, right? Is your warranty valuable to you? Because these other companies are going to have a squeeze on cash flow. So let's get into that too. Cash flow is going to be something that I'm actually starting to really bring up outside of just what I said with Powur having the cash flow, right? It's the fact that after April, we're going to see a lot of companies basically vying for the same business for storage. And guess what's going to happen? Your project time is going to get elongated, right? And with that project timeline, these companies that are smaller, that can't hold and have revenue through that entire period, it might take up to a year to get your project installed. Okay, not saying that will happen with us, but I'm just saying, let's say you need to get batteries installed, right? Maybe it's not you. Let's go ahead and get you ahead of this, but anybody else after you basically is going to be waiting a very long time for these projects to get actually completed. These companies are going to burn through cash at a rapid rate because they're not going to be able to deliver on these actual installations, and then again, that's going to cause potentially companies to fold. So I'm going kind of back through that. So in my urgency of one, get in ahead of this, ahead of April, I am now painting the picture of what's happening after April. And that gets them more comfortable with me, and knowing that I'm going to be around, that Powur is going to be around, and all of that. So that's kind of, I know I was jumping over a little bit over places, but this is kind of like my thought track and kind of my conversation tracks that I'm actually having with the clients. Now, from a marketing perspective, make some videos, make some graphics. Everybody has access to Canva. I have a social media gal that I hired, and she does a great job. I have a team that does my videos that now at this point, just because it's worth me to get a really good. I've literally done a 90-day, a 60-day, and a 30-day countdown video, and I'm working on getting a video out that I'm going to send to all my past clients on a drip email campaign that basically says, or prospects rather, right? That says, hey, if you haven't done this, you need to do it now. Here's why. Contact me, schedule a consultation now. So those are the types of things that you need to be blasting that fact that that time's ticking, right? So that's an easy way to fill your pipeline. And anybody that says, oh gosh, I can't get any referrals, it's like, or I can't get any leads. Right now, this is the best time to get leads, because now you have a sense of urgency that people can Google. They can Google NEM 3.0. You have news articles already talking about slashing solar incentives, killing solar in California, all of that, saying I can make it safe. It's not just you saying we have an incentive and all this. No. You have something that they can Google. So ride that wave. What questions do you have?
Awesome, Jordan. That was great. Thank you so much. So I do want to talk about a couple of things you said and just kind of mastermind with you. So first things off, if you guys didn't catch the main point, right? NEM 3.0, the biggest thing is that our homeowners for export rates of their solar systems are going to have that export rate credit slashed from 100% to 25%. And so that's essentially what you would need to do is triple the size of the solar system for that to make sense. Financially, we know that's not going to make sense either. So what Jordan is suggesting, his plan of attack, is batteries are going to need to be part of the equation. So I think that was a really good point that Jordan brought up. We will be having some battery training coming up fairly soon. Marisa, I'm sure we'll put that out. What I really liked about what Jordan said on this training specifically, that is gold for you guys if you did not catch this, is that the sales pitch is going to have to change. The conversation is going to have to change. It's not going to be, hey, you can go from what you pay now to paying less. Once you go solar, it's going to be, this is what you can get for what you already pay. So the conversation about savings has to be thrown out the window once we approach NEM 3.0. I think that is a very good thing to focus on. And so I would start practicing, how are you going to go about that? Jordan made some really good points on selling the security of batteries. So we need to make sure as a community, because none of us here are battery experts. And there's very few that are really versed on batteries. Let's just be honest, right? I'm not. I used to sell a ton of them, but I'm not as versed anymore. So our goal right now as a community is going to be to brush up on our battery knowledge, attend battery trainings. If you guys are not certified with Enphase, let's get you certified with Enphase. Also, Jonathan Brunasso dropped in the chat here. There's a couple graphics you guys can post on your social media about NEM 3.0 coming. Powur, if you guys were not at the Leadership Council Summit, Powur just announced that this coming week or so, they're going to put out a bunch of stuff that you guys can send out to your customers. So I know Jordan's making his own videos, Jonathan Brunasso is making his own videos, but if that's not really your thing, Powur is going to be coming out with content that you guys can share. But now is the time, like Jordan said, I thought the same thing too, Jordan. Oh man, this is going to be a busy season, and it should be. So this is the time now, you guys. If you've never door knocked before, get out there and knock some doors, call everyone you know. This is truly the last opportunity for them to go solar at a price that will never exist again. And that is not an exaggeration. So really, really awesome training. Thank you, Jordan. If there are any other questions, we're going to open it up right now. That you guys can ask Jordan or any of the mentors on this call. So we'll start with Debbie. I see your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, I really don't have a question, but what I got from, I wasn't out there, but Jeremy Miner, if anyone wants to know, has this, this called the $33 million sales script challenge, and it's free. So if you go on Jeremy Minor, so what he said was like he told them out there, become a problem finder and a solver, not a product pusher. So I went in day one, we're into day two already. You can get the recordings. It's completely free for 4 days. If anybody wants to do it, go to Jeremy Minor, MineR, and go to the $33 million sales script challenge. And you already missed the challenge. I mean, he's given away some big things like, but still the information that he is giving us is unreal. How to change our prospecting, how to change, I'm a realtor, I've been a realtor for 20 years, how to change our whole trajectory on everything, like how we talk to people.
Definitely, yes. Jeremy Minor drops some gold. So in this situation, if we apply Jeremy Minor's tactics, the problem is for homeowners is still rising rates. These rates are going, they're uncontrollable, and you have a controlled solution, and we have that solution for sure. So thanks for that, Debbie. Leadership Council was awesome. Leadership Summit was awesome. And then it looks like John Brunasso just dropped the recap of Jeremy's training in the chat. Thanks, Jonathan. Go ahead, Isela.
Thank you, Jordan. That was awesome training. I know I saw the question pop up, but I also get a piggyback back off of that is when you send them the closing docs, that's pretty brilliant there, right? Talk about, but when you send them the closing docs, have you already pre-qualified them for, to go solar or do you just send them the docs and then that kind of triggers, hey, I got to do this, and then you qualify them then?
It's a little bit of yes and no. It depends on the conversation. So sometimes if we've pre-qualified during the meeting, yes, I will. Other times what I'll do is if I know that they're really looking to do this, I'll just either ask finance to email it or I'll send the docs manually myself, right? So that way they can do a qualification. And so now other times when it's a cash deal, there's no need to, right? You're just sending, send the docs. At that point, it's like you're removing a barrier there. And so, yeah, because you don't want them to sign everything and then all of a sudden they're not qualified or anything like that. But you say, hey, I'm going to send you the qualification link. Go ahead and get qualified first before you sign everything. That way, in case we need to switch everything around. But what it also does is it puts something in their inbox, so that's kind of like a reminder that you talked about solar, that it's there. They feel like they can review the contract before they actually sign. And so, like I said, it's situational. So yes, a little bit yes here and yes a little bit of yes there.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I see some other trainers on the call, mentors, David Perez, Jonathan Brunasso. Does anyone want to pitch in on this NEM 3.0 conversation, what your plan of attack is? Any nuggets you guys want to drop while we have people on the call?
My name's Reed Bonham. I have a question. I go around and door knocking and or we give a proposal and then Sunrun comes right behind me and undersizes the system and sells deal. I had 3 in my neighborhood that they did that to me on. Any suggestions?
Jordan,
so I mean, I usually what I say to the homeowner is I said, oh, great. I usually beat Sunrun by 10 to 20K. And if they come in and they say, no, actually they beat you, I said, oh, there must be something wrong. They must be completely setting you up for failure. And they will send you that proposal in a heartbeat.
So Sunrun famously is priced higher than what we can get our price at Powur is. So I completely agree with Jordan. This is not a lost client. Reach back out to them, say, hey, we are always priced below Sunrun. They must be selling you a system that's too small. You're most likely going to get a big bill at the end of the year. Let me review it for you. Let me just make sure everything looks good. And that way you're just checking their contract for them, right? If you don't find anything wrong, then you just wish them their best is what you're going to tell them. Have to be. So Jonathan Brunasso on NEM 3.0 says have to be 115 to 130 offset no matter what. They overpromise and under deliver. Yes, I would agree. We've both worked for Sunrun before. Where do you get the docs to send manually? Okay, any other questions for any of the mentors on the call for Jordan while we have him?
Yeah, this is Tracy again. A couple things I want to say, and One had to do with that last guy that spoke. This big deal that I just did, the homeowner came back to me and said, "You're $10,000 more than everybody else." And I asked him to, see a copy to make sure everything was apples to apples. And he came back to me and said, "Oh yeah, I see that it isn't." And he said, "Send me the contract." So, I mean, that's absolutely something you have to do, because so many other companies do undersize it, and the homeowners don't know. The other thing is, and I don't know if anybody's thought about this, and I don't know that anybody's going to really have an answer to it, is that what do you think the increase in value of the home is going to be with the solar system that's on NEM 2.0 versus NEM 3.0? Because that's going to be a big difference. Now there are estimates of what they think that the home value increases, and it seems to me it's going to be considerably higher once we get to NEM 3.0 if somebody buys a house on NEM 2.0.
Jordan, you want to answer?
Yeah, sure. So going back to your comment about the sizing, right? Another thing that I get hit on with that is, well, they're giving me more panels, and really all I find is they're giving them Longview 355s or something like that, right? It's like, then that's the only thing that kind of locks in for homeowners, like, oh, well, I'm getting more panels, and they don't understand that more panels doesn't always equate to, it's not the same, right? So it's something to always check. It's like, really, that's, oh, I'm giving you better panels, right? You can always say something like that. But related to the house increase and stuff. So I go like I'm very cautious when I do the home value increase. I say, well, normally we see somewhere between 4 to 6%. However, let's just say you get an appraiser that's just a goofball, right? Or something, I just say that just doesn't understand solar. Even if you've handed them the packet, it gives you half of what you think the system's worth. Well, how much did you spend in the next 5 years on electricity? Or how much have we avoided? Right. And so once I point out the fact that they have had their break even, right, in this 4 to 6 year time span, right, then I say, did you really lose money on that in the valuation? And they go, no. I say, right, because you had 100% interest over here, and now you invested all into an asset that you had that you were going to spend anyway, and now you're actually tacking a little bit more on top of that. So even if you get less than what we anticipate, it's not really a loss, right? And honestly, you put that pool in the backyard, do you expect to get the full value for that? And that's always no. Right, that was more for luxury and comfort and things like that, right? So I do agree that we're probably going to see maybe a little bit of an uptick, but when people aren't always, when they're listing the house, they say it's just own solar versus that it has solar. So that is kind of, nobody's talking about, well, what version of NEM are you on? Because nobody really understands it. So I don't know if it's going to really increase per se, but that's a good value there as well. There's potentially good value there, especially if there's batteries already there too. So I would say whenever you're talking about the home valuation, tread lightly too, just because you can't promise what an appraiser is going to give them at the same time. But you can always say, just point out the value that they get themselves within the time span that they're going to be there, expect to be there first and foremost, and say everything else on top of that is icing on the cake.
I agree with Jordan. I don't think that NEM 3.0 is directly going to contribute towards rising home value. But obviously, if you're adding a battery or two on, that naturally will increase home value. But again, not promising it, right? Because if we are in a buyer's market, usually we see that home value coming down and not getting full appraisal value for it. So any other questions for Jordan or any of the other mentors on the call?
I have one. Yes, for Jordan or any other mentors, like you're the expansion king. So with right now that NEM is not effective, 3.0 is not effective yet. When you do add panels to existing system, do you apply for NEM 2.0? And also with 3.0, I know like with the ruling that's 10% you need to apply for an NEM. So what's your current what you're currently doing right now?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up because I realized I hadn't really touched on expansions. And really after April, expansions become not non-existent, but very situational, because if the homeowner has not already been on 3.0 with a new construction build, basically, right, when they're settling and they got the PTO after April, there's no point of doing an expansion on a client that has 1.0 or 2.0. And so like even with 1.0, it's very, okay, I need to oversize your system because I am taking you to 2.0, right? And I explained that, right? Because when you do this after April, it moves everything to 3.0. And so if you go, oh, well, I can just fix that with batteries, you can't exactly fix it with batteries, because what ends up happening is if they have an existing system that's 8, 10, 12, maybe 14 panels, whatever it is on new construction, what's happened is the battery is only being supplied by the new system, because that's how both Enphase and SolarEdge work, unfortunately. And so, and I've made this sort of comment already with leadership. I said, hey, are we going to be getting some alternative options that are AC coupled? Because we really need the ability that if a homeowner needs to go basically solar, right, needs to do an expansion rather, that we need to be able to tie those two systems together. Otherwise, you have a one-legged system, then you've just devalued their old system. It's just like you just did them a disservice, right? So what's going to happen is you need to, with expansions, don't touch them. Don't touch them, and because we have a minimum of 8 panels for right now until we have a battery that can support that. And there's only power walls and things like that. They're AC coupled, where then you can kind of make everything kind of in a virtual, like in its own logical setting. So you're not going to be able to utilize expansions. And I said that I've already brought this up. I'm like, there goes my whole thing. It's like, man, I got to turn everybody away with expansions. And so because there's no way to really shelter them from that change unless you're putting batteries on the back end to couple both systems together. And I'm speaking from experience because I have an existing SunPower system that came with the home. I did an Enphase expansion and I got 2 power walls in the garage that couple them together, right? So that's the only way to get that done, because both Enphase and SolarEdge need to run off of their own gear because they communicate, which is kind of their Achilles heel on both sides, right? So that's why everybody's like, which one's the best battery? It's like, there isn't really one. They all have their unique strengths. So
really good just point too, really quick, thank you, Lily and Jordan, for that. This is exactly why right now we need to be careful to oversize a little bit. Customers are signing up right now from here until March, because you will not be able to expand past April their systems, right? So you want to make sure they have the right amount of power now, go a little bit higher on their offset now, because if they do need panels later and they add on, you're going to throw them off their current net metering, because that's normally how it works, right? So Angela has her hand raised. Lily, did you have anything else? It sounded like you were going to say something.
Yes. So just for people who are in 1.0 right now, and like a 2000 true up bill. So with just the existing system, do you apply for net metering if you add panels or no?
Do you apply? Yes, you would have to submit another net metering application for the second system.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And they would incorporate that. So they would be shifted from NEM 1.0 to NEM 2.0. There is kind of a backdoor way around that. That's not technically the right way to do it, where you don't submit the application. I've seen other companies do that. I don't think Powur would do that, but that would keep them on their current net metering. Right, Jordan? Powur would never not do that.
No, because that causes issues later if they do, especially if they're like in county or something, and you have basically unpermitted electrical work. It becomes a huge pain. And the other way around it is really like, I think it's a 10% differential that you, and really what it's for is being able to swap out panels if they fail and you go with a higher wattage. And I had this conversation with another installer that said, well, we're just going to be, the joke is that we're just going to be doing a couple panels and a battery, for expansions and things. And I was just like, oh my gosh, because it doesn't technically move them off of NEM, but we do a minimum of 8. So yeah, the non-permitted non-permitted, non-PTO'd, or not non-permitted, but I guess it would still be a permit. They could still pull a permit and not file a PTO. So let me back that up there. But if SCE or the utility does not know about the additional power on the roof, they're not under obligation to give the homeowner even credit for it, technically, even though it's like there's a swing of variance that I've seen, because I did an expansion. I'll actually just tell you this. But then last week I had the homeowner reach out to me saying, okay, well, I've got a negative 1,700 kilowatt hours. It was a huge system, like over 30, it was 30 panels on expansion, because they have a couple of Teslas driving, things like that. And SCE has yet to give them credit for it, even though on their bill it says negative 1,700 kilowatt hours. There was no energy, there was no credits on their bill, and so they were getting hit with $200 or $300. And they're like, wasn't the point of this like to make sure we avoid this? And I said, that's not right. Something's not right. So we went back, looked at the PTO. The PTO has the size of their system, and according to SCE's billing department, that never happened from March. Okay, gotta love SCE.
Wow.
And then, so they had to basically tell them the actual date. So having a surplus of energy also doesn't necessarily guarantee that, and not telling them about it, right, that you're going to be saving them money, because they have algorithms that say, well, the size of the system and the generation facility at this location should be this. If all of a sudden it's twice the size, they may still be billing them. So you have to be very careful about that too. But I don't, just to answer your question, like Cynthia said, Powur's not going to do it.
So we can't get away with anything, basically, right? If your system
without batteries.
Yeah, if your system overproduces way too much, Edison's going to catch that and flag it. Angela, you have your hand raised. Did you want to ask something or say something?
Yeah, I am listening to all the comments about expanding systems and stuff. So Denise Eccles sent me a link to a Solar Edge training for NEM 3.0. And in that training, it's really, really specific on how you can upgrade, what the requirements are, what the guidelines are, if you can and cannot. So if any of you haven't watched that one, it's really, really a good explanation. It's about 1 hour and 10 minutes long. But if you go through it and it gives you the slides and everything that you can use to get that information, there's also a link where you can sign up where they give you more of that information. And I think Denise is on the call. So I don't know if she still has that link. I can try to find it in my email and put it in if anybody wants to watch that. It just gives more expansive information on batteries, how to incorporate the batteries. It gives how much you can include and how you can include expansions for people that are on NEM 2.0. And so, and the reason I was kind of concerned about that is because I'm on 2.0 and I'm thinking I should probably get a battery right about now. And so thinking about that and then watching that, you can expand and keep them on 2.0, but there's a specific way that you have to do it, and it involves the inverter and how much more the inverter can go up in the percentages. And that particular Zoom call or that video tells you all of that information.
Awesome. Thank you, Angela. And as Marisa, she just confirmed in the chat, we are having Solar Edge come on in the next few weeks, and they will be training on batteries as well. So you guys will get to see that firsthand. So stay tuned. We're going to be doing a lot of battery training too. We are looking forward to securing a training with Enphase as well. So all of that coming up for you guys on the training. Make sure you guys check the messages for when those come out. I'm going to hand it over to Isela now so she can wrap up the call for us. And Isela, I don't know if you had anything else to share, but go for
Cynthia,
it.
real quick, can I jump in real quick on that about the batteries? Because that's something I failed to mention is battery retrofits, according to NEM 3.0 rules, do not affect NEM status. So if your homeowner wants to do a battery retrofit in the future, that was an important takeaway because we were talking about batteries. It actually doesn't affect the rules. So I failed to actually mention that. Sorry, I'll let you go.
No, that's good to know. Thank you, Jordan. I wasn't sure about that myself, so appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Jordan. That was such a great training on NEM 3.0. This recording will be available to all of us. So looking forward to reviewing that and studying that. So Next week, we're going to have Janice Vaughn here with the Women of Power, and she will be doing a training, and we'll confirm the subject and let you all know what that is going to be. Again, thank you so much, all of you, for joining. And like we always like to end with the closing quote, develop a passion for learning. If you do, you will never cease to grow. All of us here at Powur, whether we're on mentors or tier 1, tier 2, always be open to train and to get familiarized with anything that's new or repeat something. Sometimes I go in and I look at trainings to refresh or what I learned. So with that in mind, thank you all for today's call, to our special guest, Jordan Shaw, and to our mentors on the Women of Power platform, to Cynthia, Marissa, and Chrislyn, and myself. On behalf of all of them, we thank you so much for joining us. Thank you all, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to watch the Women of Power training series. I hope that you got some great value out of that video, and there's much, much more where that came from. Listen, if you'd like to join Powur or find out more about this awesome and amazing platform, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in the description. I look forward to connecting with you real soon. Have a great day.